All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm Elise Bennon, and this is the first office hours, the third version of the first office hours for the simplest marketing plan for January 2019. And just a little bit of housekeeping up front here. This may be a public video that I post on YouTube. So if you don't want your image or your name or your questions out there in public, then just keep quiet and you can email me afterwards if you have questions. I'm going to present a demonstration of the new marketing plan, and I did a mock-up of one, so I'll show you how to use it, and you can get a copy of this mock-up if it's helpful to you. And I'm going to show some examples of how I'm thinking about this, and that'll take about a half an hour. And then I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. And Chelsea, raise your hand. Chelsea is in the chat room, and she's going to moderate any technical difficulties and Q&A that comes through. So if you have a question, what I want you to do is either type your question into the chat box, which if you're on computer, you can find if you hover over the bottom of the screen, or just type that you have a question and we'll call on you and you can say, on video or on audio only, your question, and I will answer it. And I'll probably ask you to tell who you are and where you are also, because you just never know what's going to happen if you introduce yourself to a bunch of now 22 people, and who knows who else will see it. So we're already networking, as I'm sure you know I like to do. When you ask your question, please be brief and concise and considerate, since there are lots of other people here. And there are certain types of questions that I think will not be appropriate for the forum. And if you ask one of those, I will tell you. And it may be because it's too personal or too specific or too broad or something that would take too long. So again, I'll let you know, and we'll deal with it a separate way. I also want to say that these office hours are going to be the first Thursday of every month. So the next one is on February 7th. And I have a feeling the schedule is going to change a little bit. I'm not sure if I will always do 3 of them. I might do 2. I might do 4. I really don't know. And it may change the time. So the place where you can always find the most up-to-date material is on the secret landing page, which I will show you shortly. All right. So before we get started, also, I just want to I have a sponsor, a wonderful sponsor, Corina from Function Fox, has generously offered to sponsor this project and this program. So Corina, I know that you are with us. I can see you there, but you don't have to say anything. But I just want to thank you for offering to sponsor this. So if anyone needs project management and time management, time tracking software, Function Fox is the one I do recommend and use. So there are links throughout this process on how to get a demo, basically, of and a 14-day free trial of the software. So I'll show you where that is too. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to mute everyone. And then I'm going to turn off my video, and I'm going to share my screen. And let's see, I think I was told this was a little cluttered, but I'm going to share my whole screen. I apologize for any clutter, but that is my screen. Okay, so welcome to the simplest marketing plan for 2019. I really think these are the only marketing tools you need this year to not only conquer your goals, but to control your life and your business and your time. To me, the big picture here, the mission I am on, is helping people control their time, control their business, control their life, and you do that through marketing. As much as people hate marketing or hate what they think marketing is, I know from my own experience and that of the people I've worked with for a long time that it is the key to the freedom that you need for your life. So my biggest intention is to try to make it easy for you to do. And there are three things. This is really kind of my best effort in all the years I've been doing this. I think this is the best effort so far. And what I'm trying to do is help you put your business first, simplify your marketing so you will do it, and help you find a way to carve out 30 minutes a day or the equivalent of 30 minutes a day in order to be consistent and regular and develop marketing, i.e. freedom, into a habit that integrates into your business, into your life as you go along, so that you can really take the control that I know is possible. So that's what is behind this marketing plan. So I'm just going to walk you through the document. I'm not going to read it to you, but it's got 2 pages of instructions about how to use the fields. And I just want to call your attention to the bottom part of the 3rd page, which is where you'll find what I'm calling the helper resources here. Those are all the videos that also link from the document and on the secret landing page. I also am linking to my new coaching groups that go along with this process, which I'll talk about at the end. But the idea here is that what we're doing here today is a big coaching group, and you can ask questions, but there's no personalized attention per se. And the small coaching groups are 5 to 8 people where I walk you through implementing the process over the course of 6 months. And I've got new ones starting next week, and then there'll be more starting after that. If you're interested, let me know or fill out the application. And then I just want to manage expectations here, because the idea is that you're going to get a version of this document every month. On the 1st of every month, you're going to get essentially the same document. There will be little differences, but I want you to keep it top of mind. I don't want you to lose the document. And my idea, the test I'm doing here, the experiment, is that if I send it to you on the 1st of every month, it will nudge you in the direction of being consistent and remind you that this is what you should be doing. Because, you know, everyone is really excited in January, which I appreciate, but, you know, come February, we'll see how many people show up. I hope a lot. But on the document, this is the section right here that will change from one month to the next. There will be new extras for each month. So things I'm listening to, things I'm reading, the target market. I will focus on a new target market every month, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that today. And you can find all the extras on a blog post, which is linked right here. And I will also show you that online. So the first field, because I always start with the market. I don't start with who are you and what are you offering. I start with who are you trying to reach, because everything flows from the market. So the first field to fill out is your target market. And this is where a lot of people are going to get stuck. I just know it. So I want to try to explain that this is not you making the be-all, end-all decision about your niche. This is you saying, for January, I'm going to focus on this one market, or if you can't choose one, 2 markets, or at the very most 3. And that's what you're going to put in here. That's why there's not a lot of space for you. But my suggestion is that you do one, which isn't to say you are only focusing on one market. It's just that your proactive marketing efforts need to be focused. And I suggest choosing one market. And if it starts to work over the course of January, then it makes sense to continue into February and maybe into March. And then maybe for the second quarter, you try a different market and see if you get a better result that way, right? But the only way this works is if you focus as much as you possibly can. So I've chosen museums for my mock marketing plan. And then when we get to income goal setting and income goal tracking, I've chosen a very simple formula where I want you to put in basically the number that you want to bring in every month. So for January, I picked a round number, $10,000. That might be way less than what you want to bring in. It may be way more than what you want to bring in. That's just a round number. You put what you need and you figure out or guess, if necessary, at how many of what types of projects you need at what fee to get to that number. And then your marketing efforts are aimed in that direction. And then when you get checks in the mail or people pay you online, you track that here. So let's say yesterday I got a check, maybe it's a deposit for a museum logo for $2,500. And every time I get a check, I'm going to add it in here so that by the end of the month, I can just add up the numbers and see how much I made. This is the number that you have to keep track of. And when things slow down, this is the one that's the easiest to ignore, to turn your attention away from. So I highly recommend that you don't do that as much as possible. All right, now we're going to move on to the actual marketing tools. And this will be clearer in the next version of this. I've had some questions about, you say you're focused on 3 marketing tools, but which 3 are they? These are the 3. Strategic marketing, we're going to put numbers next to them so it's clear. Strategic networking, targeted outreach, and content marketing. All right, those are the 3. I'm going to go through them. Everything else supports those 3 marketing tools. And I'm not saying this is all you do. There may be other marketing tools you want to use or are already using, which is fine. There's a space for this at the end. But my recommendation is that you start with these 3. They work nicely together, especially when you're focused on one particular market like I am in terms of museums here for the month of January. So I did some research, which I'll show you momentarily, and I found GAMG, which is the Georgia Association of Museums and Galleries. Since I'm in Georgia, I figured let me see what is available if I were a designer or a copywriter or a marketer who was interested in working with museums in Georgia. So I did a search for Georgia museums, and I found the Georgia Association of Museums and Galleries, and turns out they have an annual conference in Atlanta. This is true, in January, at the end of this month. So you have a space to go to this event, to put the details about this event right here. My goal, my guidance, it's not a rule, it's guidance, is that you attend 1 event per month where you can meet your prospects in person, in real time, if at all possible. Some people can't. They may only be able to go to 1 a year because they have to travel because there's nothing near them. But if you can find a way to do strategic networking, which is networking where your people are, those are the people in your market, not just any old networking at the Rotary Club. Not that there's anything wrong with the Rotary Club, but we want to make sure that you're going where your people are. And so here's the space where you put those details for that event. So go look for an event, put the information here. Then the other element of strategic networking is requesting 2 to 4 one-on-one chats with people who, these are not sales calls, these are not selling conversations, these are with people who may be referral sources, maybe people who can help you, maybe these are people you can help. Maybe you're trying to learn a little bit more about the museum industry or world, and so these are people who can help you. You need to find them and reach out to them and ask them if they would have a short phone call with you, a cup of coffee with you, whatever makes the most sense. So here I've got hypothetical Donna, who's a possible referral source, and her phone number. I've got, this I'll explain a little bit more, but the content people who I discovered are called Rebecca and Tom, and they're part of this trade association for museums in Georgia. I anticipate that there's a vendor I will meet at that event when I go in January, and maybe even my favorite speaker at that event is someone I will want to follow up with and have a chat. All right, so you can use this for goal setting. My goal is to find a vendor who might offer complimentary services to me and we can do some networking, or my goal is to follow up with one of the speakers so I can create some content from whatever it was that they spoke about. So I'm trying to explain how all of these tools are interconnected and support each other, and that's the key to this process. Okay, marketing tool number 2 is targeted outreach, so not just any old outreach. And the reason this works, this is the part people hate the most, this is the part you're going to put off the most, but it's actually the most effective. It really does work. It's hyper personalized, super customized outreach via email, LinkedIn, snail mail, phone, all different tools, introducing yourself and your offer to the people you've researched and done your homework about and know you're a good fit for, and that's exactly what you're going to tell them. Now, let me just show you how, if you aren't sure how to do what I'm asking you to do here, then you hover over that little question mark and you can click on the link and watch a video about how to do it. Okay, these are videos mostly from my Creative Live course, Command the Fees You Deserve. And so I've selected the ones that are the most relevant for the marketing tools that I am suggesting here. So there are two aspects to the targeted outreach. One is prospects that you meet through networking. So these are people you would like to sell your services to. So here I put, I'm going to find a really good prospect at that conference I go to later this month, and I'm going to find another really good prospect. That's my goal, is to find two good prospects, and then I'm going to do networking follow-up to them. And then you're going to choose 5 to 10 of your best prospects that you're going to reach out to in this targeted outreach way over the course of the month. 5 is the minimum, so that could be 1 a week for 5 weeks, or 10 is not the maximum. You can always do more, obviously, but this is the guidance, 5 to 10 people to be reaching out to. This is not a contact management system. It's not like you're going to keep all of your notes here. This is just a place to contain the information about who you're trying to reach out to. That is my intention. So I just put a couple, but I would then fill this in. And I just want to call your attention to all these amazing check boxes. I know everybody loves to check things off. So look at what we did. That's one of my favorite parts of this plan. Okay, so that's marketing tool number 2. And then marketing tool number 3 is content marketing. So again, content is information that is relevant to your market, that speaks to their needs. It's not about you, it's about what you know about what they need or what they're struggling with. And if you don't understand what that is or want to know more, you just watch this video, The Art of Attracting the Best Clients. That's what it's all about. And then in terms of content marketing, what I'm recommending is 3 different types, although these are not the only 3 possible types. These are the 3 simplest and most effective to start with. So this is what you start with, and then you can add other ones later on. So an email newsletter, and the guidance here, again, if you don't know how to create an email newsletter, then you watch how to create an email newsletter. The guidance is monthly, bi-monthly, or at a minimum quarterly. Again, not a rule, but just some guidance. And what I want you to put in this field here is just the topic. You're not going to put the whole newsletter here, just your idea for what is going to go into it. And shorter is better, less is more. Someone on one of the earlier calls said, how many articles should we have in the newsletter? 1, no more than 1. And you have an intro paragraph, you have a little bit of main content, and then ideally you have a sample of yours that supports what you're talking about. So the idea I came up with off the top of my head last night was the top 5 things your museum website must have. Because again, remember, we're focused on a particular market. Everything needs to be related to that market. Now, I want you to notice here also promote via social media. This is the role social media plays in this marketing plan. I don't want you tweeting all day long. I don't think that's the way to get clients. I don't even necessarily want you on Instagram all day long. I want you to promote your content through social media to the people who need to see it. All right, we may have a little debate about that in the Q&A. I'm ready for it. I'm not a big fan of social media, but there are ways to make it effective when you use it strategically. I just find that most people do not use it strategically. All right, so email newsletter is the first type of content marketing. If you do nothing else, then do an email newsletter, because this is pushing your information out to the people who you want to reach out to, who have ideally given you permission, or at least are already in contact with you, so that you can stay in touch with them and top of mind. And the more relevant you make this content to them, the more they will welcome it, because they want to hear from you, because remember, you are a good fit for them and they may just not know it yet. And that's the whole point of your marketing, is to help them understand that. Okay, next is a blog, and you may have a blog already and it may be a little slow. You may not have posted on it in a while. That looks generally really bad. So you want to use your blog regularly, but not that frequently. So the guidance here is weekly, bi-weekly, or even monthly. You don't have to be posting constantly. It just should be relatively up to date. All right, and similar with the newsletter, here's an idea for the best museum websites in Georgia based on what I saw on the website I'm going to show you. You focus on a pain point of your target market. You share the cure, that would be you, and you include some supporting samples. And then you check these things off as soon as you have them, and then once you've promoted it on social media. All right, and then the more advanced content marketing is along the lines of guest blogging. And I'll explain this a little bit more, but the short version here is that if I go to the Georgia Association of Museum and Gallery annual conference, then I'm going to use that opportunity to create some content for myself and for them, because everyone is constantly looking for content. So if you offer content, let's say you write a blog post, let's say you take some pictures, let's say you create an infographic about what you learned, then you offer it up even in advance. You can make your arrangements with them. That's why I put Rebecca here. She's someone I found online. And you offer it up in advance. Say, I'm going to be there. I'd love to create some content that you can then share with your members. Is that okay? They usually say yes. And then that is the way to get your content in front of the people who really need to see it. You can also post on LinkedIn, and that is usually also more effective than posting on your own blog because everyone is already on LinkedIn, right? But these are just other places you can post your content, no matter what kind it is. All right, those are the 3 marketing tools. And then, of course, your website is something you want to keep up to date. So you can watch the video, Your Marketing Smart Website, to see what makes a website marketing smart. But this is just a place to say, oh yeah, I gotta add that new case study or that new sample or that new testimonial to my site this month. And then the wildcard section is a place where you can add other things that you come across that you think would be good marketing tools to do, but that don't fit into the other places that I've already laid out here. So I just made a few up. Maybe I'm going to do a companion screencast video to go along with my blog post, the top 5 things your museum website needs. Or I did find a listing of museum podcasts. So maybe I want to be a guest on a podcast, or maybe I want to listen to a few and create an infographic about what I learned. I mean, the possibilities are endless, which is sometimes part of the problem. They can be a little overwhelming, but this is how the document works. All right. Chelsea, how are we doing?
Good. There are a couple of questions if you want to do those first.
Yeah, let's do some questions. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so Chelsea's going to feed me the questions. And again, please introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do, and where you are. It's good to know where people are. And then ask your question briefly, and I will do my best to answer. Oh, I need my video. All right.
Alrighty, so Sage had a question about the newsletter.
All right, Sage. You need to unmute yourself, or I can unmute you.
Okay.
There you go. Hi.
I run a marketing communications business, and I'm also an author and provide classes and products and services for writers. And I was curious if the newsletter that was kind of detailing the museum expertise would go to all clients, even those that were not museums.
So this is a gradual process. And the short answer is yes. You're not going to create a separate newsletter for each market. If we were big businesses, we might do that. But I think at the size that we are, the idea is to have a basic concept, a basic idea for your content that is relevant to almost anyone that would receive it, that you work with, and then use the museum examples to demonstrate what you're talking about. And so that would be attracting the people and saying, oh yeah, I know that market, but this is content that's relevant to anyone.
Thank you.
Sure. And then, if you have 2 or 3 markets, then you alternate from month to month or issue to issue using different types of samples just to show the range of what you work with.
Thank you.
Of course. The idea here, someone asked me in one of the earlier sessions, what's the difference between this group and the small coaching groups? So I just want to explain briefly that the small coaching groups, I want you to market yourselves. That's all I care about, truthfully. If you can do it with this plan and the office hours, and that will keep you on track, great. That is perfect. And I hope that's the case for a lot of people. But there are people out there who want more accountability, more personalized attention. You can work with me one-on-one, of course, or you can join these small groups. There'll be 5 to 8 people in each group. There are 12 sessions over the course of 6 months. So it's an every other week, 1-hour call. And I give assignments, and you bring your assignment and you get feedback, and it's very interactive. So that is the other option. And I plan to have rolling starts of new groups. So the new ones start next week and the week after. So if you're interested in starting sooner rather than later, then let me know and fill out the application on the groups page. And if not, fill out the application and I will let you know when the new ones are coming. And I try to organize the schedule around the actual people who are in the group and the content actually around the actual people who are in the group. So I feel like everyone is working in isolation these days, and that's why the Creative Roundtable exists. Also, Nancy was mentioning that too, and I want to give a shout out to the Creative Roundtable because we need opportunities to work together and to support each other and to help each other. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And I know I offer a lot of different things, and sometimes it's hard to know which is the right one. But if you're ever unsure, just reach out to me. We can chat about it, and we'll figure out what you need. All right? Any questions about that? All right. Well, I am very happy. This went really well. I think this session is the one that will go viral. So just so you know, watch for it. And what else was I going to say? Oh, and I was thinking also, this number, 26 people, 25 people, seems to be workable. I'm looking for feedback on this process. I'm looking for feedback on the document so that we can improve the process all the way along. So please feel free to email me about anything that you think needs to be better. If you think I should moderate the discussion better, please let me know. I really want to, improve as we go along. And I just want to give a shout out to Chelsea also. Chelsea Wave, your hair is dry now. Thank you so much for being my helper. Chelsea's going to be helping me from now on. I just know it. And by the way, Chelsea reached out to me on LinkedIn. When was it? Last week, right? And she said,
Yep.
Do you need help? She sent me one of those cold messages. Do you need help? I have no idea why she chose me, but clearly I needed her help. I said yes, and here we are. So there we have a success story of, cold outreach or warm outreach that works. And so if you can find, maybe Chelsea, tell me, why did you choose me?
That's great.
I liked that you worked with creative professionals because that's what I do too. So I just thought it would be a good match.
And she was right. So, people are open, they're looking for help. And if you are honest and authentic and generous with what you offer and don't, take it as rejection if they don't respond to you right away, then I think that is really the key. So we're here to help all of you and to try to do this together. So thank you for coming. And that's right. Silence is not a no. I see that from Colleen. Thank you, Colleen. And thank you for coming and hope to see you on February 7th. Bye, everybody.